Ukrainians are persisting against Russian aggression, and it is downpouring across Oklahoma. Will flooding affect your plans to attend the women's basketball game? This is OU Nightly.
A major road closed in the heart of campus thanks to flash flooding. Jenkins Avenue leading to the Lloyd Noble Center is shut down just hours before OU women's basketball tips off against Notre Dame. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Dylan Rivera.
And I'm Zaria Oates. We begin with the rain that is causing some road closures on campus.
It's all a part of a storm system moving through the state. Let's get the latest from OU Nightly's Robby Frost. Robby.
Yeah, Dylan, you can see looking out across Oklahoma City today, it's pretty gloomy. Just looking at the Paycom Center right now, looks like there was a little bit of a lull in the rain, but it looks like it's starting to come back down. Roads are looking rather slippery out there. Currently 51 degrees with a east wind of 15 miles per hour. And as you can see, we're going to look at the future cast. We got the big game coming up tonight against Notre Dame. You can see some rain. It's going to start pushing east across Oklahoma before it finally clears out around 10 o'clock. Of course, if you're going to the game, make sure you've got an umbrella as you're going in. You can see there's actually a little bit of snowfall coming in across the panhandle behind this with that cold front. Coming up later, I'll talk to you about some current severe weather going on in Texas, as well as a cool off tomorrow before we start to warm up when our next warm up is.
Thanks, Robby. Our big story tonight, the OU women's basketball team is in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and all students get in for free. OU Nightly's Grace Burget is live at Lloyd Noble with the story. Grace?
Thanks, guys. I'm standing outside the LNC where in just about 30 minutes, the OU women's basketball team will take on Notre Dame to keep their tournament berth alive. Now, if the Sooners were to win tonight, they'd head to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2013.
Imagine what it must be like for Sherry Cole of Oklahoma. 6 years ago, she was a high school coach. Now she has her team here playing in the Final Four.
A team that was once a household name in the NCAA women's basketball tournament is making their comeback after a few tough seasons.
I feel great. I mean, it wasn't just last year. It's been rough for the last 3 years since we've been here. But, I mean, we made it, and we're here, and we're blessed to be here. We're excited to be here.
Under the leadership of new head coach Jenny Baranczyk, the OU women's basketball team is once again drawing in fans to the LNC.
Really cool to see a ton of people here because we haven't always been able to have that since we've been here, and it's just really cool to be able to have that March Madness feeling in the air. You can just like feel it in the crowd, and it's just a really cool feeling when you have so many people behind you and will you to win.
Tonight, Jenny and the team face off against the 5-seed Notre Dame for the 6th time in program history for what is sure to be an exciting matchup.
I mean, you're playing a great team. You're playing, we've already been asked about Olivia Miles. I think most of our players know who she is, and most of our players know who a lot of their players are. And at the same time, we've played some great teams. We've played Baylor 3 times this season, and they're a 2-seed, and probably could have been a 1-seed. And so we've played some great teams in our league. So I think from that standpoint, you always go in with really high regard and high respect. You still got to compete, and you still got to show up.
Now, the winner of tonight's game will head on to Connecticut later this week to take on the winner of NC State and Kansas State on Saturday, with the time to be determined. Zaria, Dylan, back to you.
Thanks, Grace. Now the latest on Russia's war in Ukraine. The city of Mariupol is refusing to surrender today, and the U.S. is stepping up its efforts to help. President Biden held a call with European leaders this morning. Then he's talking with American CEOs about the war. On Wednesday, he travels to Europe for an emergency NATO summit. He'll visit Poland on Friday for talks with the country's president about the invasion in Ukraine. The Ukrainian people are begging President Biden and the U.S. to offer more support.
Убивали всех людей. Это сволочи, это гады, блядь, паразиты.
The Ukrainian president says he's ready to talk to Putin at any time. If talks fail, he says he believes it could mean World War III.
Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson gave her opening remarks today. Kenzie Iserman has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Thanks, Dylan. Today marks day one of nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's hearing. She is no stranger to the process nor to the committee. This is her 4th time sitting before them. Today offers Jackson a chance to introduce herself to the panel, but the true test will come Tuesday when the questioning begins. She says she is, quote, humbled and honored that she would defend the Constitution without fear or favor.
Witness to the fact that in America all is possible.
If approved, Jackson will be the first African-American woman to serve on the Supreme Court. The FBI says that they will not be releasing quarterly crime data for the final 3 months of 2021. They received data from less than 10,000 of the 18,800 law enforcement agencies in the U.S. Many agencies do not take part in submitting data to the FBI because it is not required. The FBI says it will still post quarterly data from individual cities with a population of 100,000 people or more. A Chinese airliner carrying 132 passengers lost contact with emergency services and crashed in eastern China today. The crash took place in the city of Huazhu just after 2 p.m. Witnesses say the plane looked like it was falling vertically. No details on the number of casualties involved have been released. According to the Chinese state media, rescue efforts may be hampered due to weather and accessibility to the site. Dylan, Zaria, I hope you two haven't been sharing your Netflix passwords because Netflix may soon make you pay more for sharing your account password. Back to you.
Thanks, Kenzie. Well, Campus Corner is a well-known hangout spot at the University of Oklahoma. Up ahead on OU Nightly, find out how one special request from a restaurant owner could change the social scenery.
Plus, a local high school graduate is filing a lawsuit against his former school district and football coaches. Find out why when OU Nightly returns. One Campus Corner property owner is concerned about a restaurant owner's special request that could impact the culture of the area. OU Nightly's Jessie Klinger has the story on this Campus Corner controversy.
The heart of social life for OU students is here on Campus Corner. While the area is known for its bar scene, many of these hotspots are considered restaurants. Now, Logie's on the Corner could set a new precedent in the area, as owner Joe Bendetti has requested special use to operate as a bar, and he presented his argument to the Norman Planning Commission last week.
Logie's has been here since 2005. We've served a menu, a full kitchen every day since 2005. Along the lines, about 2018, they changed the liquor laws in Oklahoma. And as a result, a lot of folks were thrown into a situation where they may or may not meet a ratio.
This change in laws removed Low Point beer from being included in food sales, and as a result, Logie's often struggles to meet the quota required to be considered a restaurant and is currently being audited. Concerns regarding Bendetti's request have mainly been voiced by Rainey Powell, who owns a majority of Campus Corner real estate.
I believe this change would be bad for Campus Corner. I think that if this went through, that we would very quickly have 4 additional requests for the same thing.
Powell worries approval of this request would also create a ripple effect among the other restaurants, turning the Corner into a bar district. After both sides were heard, the Planning Commission approved the request to move forward to be heard by the City Council.
We're going to do the same thing we've been doing for 17 years. No changes.
An audit of the restaurant is currently in progress. However, Bendetti's request will now go to the City Council for approval.
A lawsuit is underway against multiple coaches in Northwest Oklahoma City, and education bills are hitting the legislative floor. Libbey Dean has more in Capitol Report.
A former Kingfisher football player is suing the district and coaches for years of abuse. The video you're seeing is from our partners at News 9, and the former student identified as John Doe #1 has now filed a federal lawsuit. He accuses the coaches of perpetrating a culture of hazing and abuse, including sexual assault with no intervention. The Kingfisher superintendent says that the district is aware of the case but has no further comment. And a major focus this legislative session is education. And one bill that's causing controversy is the Oklahoma Empowerment Act. Senate Bill 1647 would allow public funds to pay private school tuition. The bill would give public school students state funds that would go directly into a private account. From there, parents could choose to use that money towards putting their kids in private school or even to use for homeschool. Many education advocates are opposing the bill.
As an organization, have been adamantly opposed to any type of voucher. Taking public funds away from public schools and giving it to any private entity is an absolute. We're in opposition of that.
And House Speaker Charles McCall has publicly stated he does not plan to hear the bill in the House this session. That's all for Capitol Report. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Libbey. A very competitive blood drive begins today. Up ahead, find out what you can win by donating.
And if you're heading out on the roads tonight, be sure to stay weather aware with Robby Frost.
Yeah, it's a rainy day here in Oklahoma, but up next I'll have more details for what you can expect as you head to a big OU women's basketball game tonight. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to OU Nightly. My name's Robby Frost. Looking out across Oklahoma City today, you can see we've got a little bit of a lull in rain, but we've got a really low cloud deck up there right now. Can hardly see Devon Tower at this point. But looking at a bigger picture, you can see that there's actually a very strong chance of severe storms down in Texas right now. We do have a slight level 2 out of 5 and a marginal level 1 out of 5 across the metro right now. And looking at the tornado threat, there is a non-zero 5% chance of tornadoes across the Red River tonight, as well as a 2% kind of covering the I-40 corridor. But, you know, it looks like our tornado threat right now, there is a tornado warning just south of the Red River, northwest of Dallas. So this will be moving northeast into Oklahoma soon. And alongside that, there's a lot of severe storms down across west of Dallas. This is all a tornado watch right down here. So something to watch as these storms start to push eastward into the state. We've got some heavier rain out west of the metro right now. This will also be pushing across the metro soon. So we'll have some heavier rain amounts coming in soon. We already had a little bit of flooding today, so something to watch out for. Lows tonight, it's going to be getting pretty chilly up in the Panhandle, going to be in the 30s up there tonight, at around 40 degrees here in the metro, and eastern Oklahoma will be staying in the 50s tonight. But as we go into tomorrow, you can see we'll warm up into the mid 40s, but it's pretty cool for this time of year. Out in eastern Oklahoma, we'll be getting up into the 60s before this cold front pushes through tomorrow. Looking at the two-day forecast, like I said, Tuesday, we've got some rain exiting the state tomorrow. It will be much cooler than what we've been seeing lately. And Wednesday, the cool will remain, but it will start seeing return of sunshine across the state. And looking at the rest of the week, we get up to 58 on Thursday before we get up to 70 on Friday. Just perfect warming up going into the weekend. 77 degrees on Sunday and 80 degrees on Monday. We'll also start seeing the return of some sunshine. How about you? Back to you two at the desk.
Thanks, Robby. Well, the annual Bedlam Blood Drive starts today, and the competition between OSU and OU will continue throughout the week. After you donate, you receive a free t-shirt and free food and a ticket to the Oklahoma City Zoo. One Oklahoma Blood Institute employee says you may be able to save a life, just like one OU student saved his.
This young man walked up from the back of the room. He had donated blood for the very first time on his 16th birthday, and his blood saved my life.
If you want to donate, the drive is happening from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the ROTC Armory Tuesday and Friday, and from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Walker Storm Shelter Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, the men's Sweet 16 bracket is complete, and my bracket is completely busted. I had Kentucky going all the way to the national championship, so I was dead wrong.
Well, I'm right there with you, Dylan. I had Villanova, but I don't know too much about sports, so the Cinderella squad is still making their run, though.
That's right, Zaria. A 15 seed is in the Sweet 16 for only the third time, and the Sooners square off with the Irish in the round of 32 for a chance to be sweet. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Stone Weber, and it's time for sports. Before we start here in the studio, we're going to send it back out to Grace Burget, who is live at the Lloyd Noble Center.
Thanks, Stone. Yeah, I'm still out here at the LNC where it is pouring down rain, but that is not stopping the fans from coming as they have been filing in for the past 30 minutes. Now, the OU women's team is coming off a 78-72 win over IUPUI on Saturday, heading into tonight's matchup against the 5th-seeded Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And with a Sweet 16 spot on the line, superstar Maddie Williams says the team is only focused on playing their game their own way.
They're a great program. They have a lot of accolades. But yeah, we're just going to make sure that we focus on ourselves. As long as we handle our business on the court and bring our own energy, then I feel like we should be fine.
And now the winner of tonight's game will head on to Connecticut to play 1-seed NC State as they are up by about 30 points on Kansas State right now, and they will play Saturday at the time to be determined. Stone, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Grace. The first weekend of the men's tournament wrapped up with an overtime thriller between Arizona and TCU. And while the Horned Frogs couldn't pull off the upset, plenty of other teams did. Through 48 games, there have been 16 upsets. And breaking that down even more, this means that 1/3 of the games have been upsets up to this point. The biggest surprise is the Cinderella story of 15-seed St. Peter's taking down 2-seed Kentucky in overtime and 7-seed Murray State to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. And here's a look at the rest of the field. The tournament resumes on Thursday with Arkansas squaring off against Gonzaga in San Francisco. And the OU men's basketball team was in action last night, but it wasn't the outcome Sooner fans expected. Number 1 seed Oklahoma suffered a second-round loss to the St. Bonaventure Bonnies 78-76 in the NIT tournament. This ends Porter Moser's first season in Norman, finishing with a record of 19-16. Moser says this group gave everything they could.
We asked so much of this group, new coaching staff, new teammates coming together. And then we were in a tough stretch, and EJ got hurt and came back and asked them to regroup, and then to win 5 out of 6 going into this game. And they gave everything they could.
Over the weekend, the OU women's gymnastics team claimed the 2022 Big 12 championship in Denver. Senior Olivia Troutman finished with the highest score on vault, posting a 9.975, while the team amassed a total score of 198.200. Next, the Sooners will host the Norman Regional starting on March 30th and wrapping up on April 2nd. NFL free agency is well underway as today the Atlanta Falcons traded longtime quarterback Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts. The biggest deal so far in the free agency period is quarterback Deshaun Watson waiving his no-trade clause with the Houston Texans and signing with the Cleveland Browns, meaning former OU quarterback Baker Mayfield is out of a starting job. And guys, former Oklahoma quarterback Josh Heupel, the now head coach at Tennessee, landed the Volunteers' first 5-star quarterback since 2002. Dylan, Zaria, back to you.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see where Baker Mayfield goes from here. Thanks, Stone. Well, it looks like a very well-known building abroad is growing.
Find out how this famous destination just got a bit bigger. Straight ahead on OU Nightly.
I'm Caroline Vaccaro at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Some breaking news, especially for students from North Texas. A possible tornado has caused significant damage in Jacksboro in Texas, northwest of Fort Worth. The significant damage includes the high school gym. No injuries were reported by the school and the kids are okay. We know all the stations in Dallas-Fort Worth are currently issuing tornado warnings.
Thanks, Caroline. One of the most recognizable monuments in the world just got a little bit of a facelift.
That's right. The Eiffel Tower just got a 20-foot tall antenna added to the top of its spire, bringing the total height of the famous French structure to 1,083 feet.
The antenna was added to open up digital radio channels across France and had to be attached using a helicopter.
Well, Robby Frost joins us now with a look at severe weather in Texas.
And a look at our weather too. Robby?
Yeah, so I'm looking at 2 tornado warnings across northern Texas right now, right near Decatur in the town of Nacona right now, and these are all moving northeast. So we need to look out areas around Marietta, Ardmore, Ringling. These are all going to be starting to move into the area. It's moving northeast into the state. So we'll see how long these stay on the ground for. You know, and that's when we'll find out, you know, what areas are going to be affected by this. But back to you two at the desk.
Well, thanks, Robby, and thanks for tuning in to OU Nightly. We leave you tonight with a live look at the Lloyd Noble Center. The OU women's team is in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and tip-off in less than 2 minutes. A reminder that all students get in free tonight.
Yeah, well, we're live every weekday from Gaylord Hall on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.